What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you come in and you check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on LeBron James, man, and this topic right here, like LeBron James being the GOAT. And the reason why I say this is with like media controls everything, right? And as soon as I was thinking that, with so many people coming out and speaking against LeBron James and saying that, he's not the GOAT, he's just stat padding, and like people basically going against almost everything that LeBron James says, right? And recently, a report came out that the Cleveland Cavaliers would definitely be interested in LeBron James coming back one more year for his farewell tour, right? Now, I had said in the past that I thought that I was like, well, the relationship that Cleveland and LeBron James had was contentious. Like the guy, what's his name, Dan Gilbert. Dan Gilbert was not a big fan of LeBron James. And then once I heard that, like they were interested in bringing LeBron James back, I was like, wow, man, this is crazy. This is scripted. Because no matter how many people push back and how big your platform is, it really don't matter. Like if the powers that be want LeBron James to be the GOAT, if they want LeBron James to go down as being the greatest basketball player that ever lived, then that's what it's going to be. Like, it's almost like being in a desert and yelling, right? Like nobody will hear you if they don't want you to be heard. So you can post as many videos as you want. You can have all the followers and all the subscribers and all that stuff. It just don't matter. What matters is what the powers that be want. And if they want LeBron James to be the GOAT, then LeBron James will be the GOAT. And it just came to, I just kind of really realized this and thought, because I was thinking that with all these people, I was like, you see kind of like like the momentum change when all of these people coming out saying, nah, man, LeBron James just stat padding. LeBron James, he played 23 years, but I'm a Michael Jordan fan, or I'm a Kobe Bryant fan. Just so many people just out there pushing against the LeBron James narrative. And not because they're LeBron James haters, like I said in previous videos, but just because they love the game of basketball, right? Most of everything that you hear negative about LeBron James is not personal. It's about what he do on the court. Because like off the court, LeBron James is a husband and a father, right? So nobody can knock him for that. Everything he do as a husband and a father publicly can be commended. So in that aspect, LeBron James is a really good role model. But and so everybody who's speaking on LeBron James just speak on his on basketball, right? They keep it basically they keep it about basketball. So and it's going to be, in my opinion, what the the powers to be, it's going to be what they want it to be. Now, will this be good for basketball in the long run? I don't think so, because I think that if you give the people a subpar product, I think it's going to turn people away. You can continuously, the NBA can get away with this because they have a monopoly on basketball, right? On professional basketball. Like the NBA, they don't have any competition. Players come from around the world, and this is the Premier League, in the world, the National Basketball Association, right? So this is the Premier League. So they have a monopoly on this. So they could put anything out there for the people to consume. But I think that through their arrogance, I think they're going to find out that it's going to turn fans off. You just can't, you're going to turn off fans. You just can't throw any old product out there and people going to say, that they're just going to go with it. Eventually something else is going to come down the line that's going to be more captivating and more exciting to people, and then people are going to gravitate towards that. So I think the NBA is really just taking a big chance, in my opinion, of ruining their product when they don't put a genuinely good product out there. Just because you're the only product out there in this market, or you're the premier product in this market, don't mean you could put some BS out there and then people are going to accept it. Because as soon as something else come down the line that people can consume the same way they consume the NBA, then the NBA is going to be in trouble. And I think that's what's going to happen, because it's obvious that LeBron James, is not the GOAT, but they continuously push that narrative, and fans, for right now, I think fans are accepting it. But yeah, and you know what? And the NBA has already lost a lot of fans to the NFL. And don't let Major League Baseball make a comeback or something like that. Then they'll lose, although it's a different time of the year, but people won't watch as much. And viewership is down. We're in a point where attendance is down. So that's all due to the NBA, their arrogance of thinking that you can just sell people anything, and thinking that people will go along with it. So LeBron James right now is reaping the benefits of what the NBA, the narrative that they're pushing. He's the face of the league and all this other stuff. But if the NBA don't correct what they're doing, I think they're going to lose in the long run. I'm hearing people that are really just and it's not just LeBron James. Like, fans are like upset because certain players around the league don't play defense, right? Even the young people, they realize that, you just can't just stand out there and let people go past you. Then you get the ball and you go down on, like, everything is an all-star game. The all-star game happens in the middle of the NBA season. But some of these players think that every game that they play is an all-star game where they get to just dribble the ball and take 3-pointers at will, just doing what they want. And fans are really turned off by that. So I think that the NBA are putting themselves at risk of, a further decline than what they really are. Like I said, the ratings are already down. Attendance is down. They probably not selling as much merchandise as they used to. If people are not going to the games, then people are not interested. So that means that the merchandise is not moving. So they can take this approach that, LeBron James is the GOAT because we say he's the GOAT, and you just gonna have to go with it, right? I think the NBA in the long run is going to lose out. Now, maybe later on down the line, like I said, they'll be able to rewrite history and use all the stats and stuff that LeBron James have accumulated. He could use all those stats, but still, like, the interest in the league, as a fan, just won't be there. And I think it'll continue to go down if the NBA don't get themselves together, man, and just do what's right by the game of basketball. That's why you have so many people pushing back on, this whole thing surrounding LeBron James and what he got going on. Because people like, or not just like, people really love the game of basketball. So if you love the game of basketball and you're passionate about it, you want to, you have certain standards that you want to see, expectations that you have for the game, and the NBA is not really living up to it. They're not forcing the face of the league. They're not forcing him to live up to those standards. So that's why you have you just have like this lack of interest in the game, because the NBA has just gotten lazy and they just putting any old thing out there, and they just want you to believe what they say and what they show you when you know that you're not getting a quality product. So yeah, if the NBA says that LeBron James is the GOAT, then he is the GOAT, and really ain't nothing you could do. Like I said, on these social media platforms, everybody have, putting out videos all day, every day, saying LeBron James is calling him LeBron James, and I can't wait till him and his son retire, and all of this pushback really won't mean anything because number one, these social media platforms don't belong to us. They belong to, somebody else, and they control like how much exposure and how often these things get played in the algorithm. So it's up to the big wigs. And I think that they're making a big mistake by pushing a inferior product and somebody who is not really lived up to, what the fans expect from a franchise ball player. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video. Peace.